All right, you know what time it is. It's Friday. It's time to preview Saturday. That's SoCal Saturday with us here. Presented by Amwager. His name is Barry. I'm Louie, hanging out with you for 9 race card today. We'll go through the entire thing here. If you're new to the program, hey, thanks for jumping in with us on a Friday. We are previewing tomorrow's card out at Santa Anita. So if you are in need of some handicapping advice or just want to have a conversation with us, you are certainly welcome to join us here. Barry, good Friday to you, my friend. How are you?
Hanging in there. You know, long week, ready to enjoy the weekend and this SoCal Saturday.
A little SoCal Saturday here, of course, will be on the Sporting Tribune's socials and on their YouTube, of course. You can find us at Horse Happy Hour on the socials. Barry's at the Urban Handicapper, and I'm at Radio Louie as well. So we'll go through the card now out there at Santa Anita. Always want to remind you, though, about our presenting sponsor in Amwager. Get the Amwager Edge. It's an online betting platform designed by horse players for horse players with speed, power, top-tier features, predictive true odds, and conditional wagering. Hey, anything from a win bet to up to a pick six. They've got you covered over there at Amwager, and they will help you bet smarter. So visit amwager.com today to get a 100% deposit match up to $150 just in time for tomorrow's card at Santa Anita, maybe just in time as well for the Preakness Stakes itself. Sitting in my backyard in Louisville, Kentucky, I am Louie Barry, hanging out with the Florida-bound Barry Spears. All right, man, let's get after it here. Straight away into it. It is race 1 out there at Santa Anita Park tomorrow. And Barry, frankly, let's kind of set up what this card is. The Siren Lure is going to be in the middle here, turf stakes. Frankly, feels like a high-level allowance. This is essentially, if you wanted to try to hit some long shots and hit some horses in a nickel claimer or something like that, this might be the card for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they're really competitive races. They're just not the best horses on the grounds.
That's, you know what? That's the best way to put it. As far as wagering, though, for those of us who just care about prices, this is a solid card. $30,000 claimer for non-3 lifers opens the card. We're going a mile on the turf course there, $32,000 in the prize pool here, Barry. And interested to see where you landed, because I know you landed on a horse that I did not land on at all.
Yeah, I landed on number 4, Port Ellen. This horse's body of work is very competitive in this spot. And I think this horse is a little bit versatile, because if the pace ends up being slow, this horse can be on the lead or really close to it or sit right off it. I think that versatility will go a long way against this group. You know, I'm a little afraid of what the one Monjica can do, especially on the front end, but I'm going to gamble against that horse, you know, just kind of running off here. And I think Port Ellen's probably going to get the right trip.
I asked Monjica to go to a date with me, but she said no. It was a whole hell of a thing back in the day. High school was a tough time for me, Barry. I landed on the 6, your second pick here in this spot, in Edesia, the probable favorite going to the gate here. Giovanni Franco had the ride last time. We're switching Gonzalez here. We get off the hill. This is one that's going to be a little bit off the pace here, Barry. If this one could break even a little better than how it's been breaking, I think it'll be just fine. Does have a win at the distance, 2 wins in 10 lifetime starts on the turf course there as well. 3 times hitting the board in 6 runs at Santa Anita. If we can get that form that we've seen before, maybe it's October of 23, what have you. This is a horse that only ran twice last year. Barry needed time off, essentially an entire year from November to November between 23 and 24. Second time up in this form cycle. That's a major great angle for Phil D'Amato here. So I hate to eat chalk early, but I do think the 6 Edesia has a serious shot here. I know that's second in your handicapping.
Yeah, definitely looks formidable in this spot. I just thought the price was going to be too low for me, and I looked elsewhere, and I thought, you know, Port Ellen might be a little bit better. At least maybe tomorrow.
After the 6, though, yeah, if we're trying to fill out, say, a trifecta or a superfecta play, whatever it might be, I know you have the 3 in the third spot here. Nice price at 9-2. Armando Ayuso gets the mount here. Did most of the work last out, did Annie's Joy. Just got caught at the end. You think she'll be a little bit more fit here?
Should be, but you know, this horse's MO is kind of that speed and fade to third. Does it a lot, so I wouldn't discount that in a race like this.
Only one I think we haven't talked about that I like in here is actually outside. Look at me giving out the first long shot of the day. 10-1 here. Corporal Violet on the outside, coming out of 50. Starter allowance kind of company, gets back into a claimer here. Last time this horse was in a claimer was at a 25 claimer. So one level below this. Horse is in for 30 here. Under Aguilar, keeps the mount here. I really like this horse in this spot. I think this is a spot where this horse can get a good trip, is going to sit just off of it, or frankly, in this field, Barry might inherit the lead just by default. And so, yeah, give me this one here. Corporate Violet, the 7 on the outside. You like that pick?
Yeah, why not? I mean, stranger things have happened, and you know, again, these are lower level horses. A lot of chaos can really ensue.
The old Reinford Aguilar combination there, hitting at 25% recently at Churchill. It's at Anita Park, as all of us. That's the obvious jockey trainer combination we're all looking for here on SoCal Saturdays, presented by Amwager. He's Barry. I'm Louie. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a Friday. It's a $5,000 claimer for those Northern California-based horses. And frankly, Barry, I think when they announced this program at the beginning, I was very skeptical, but we have 3 races on this card that are filled because of this program. It's actually turned out to be pretty good for this, for frankly, for our cards and for betting purposes as well.
Yeah, blessing in disguise. These races have been really, really interesting and good to bet on. A lot of prices, a lot of crazy
Right.
things happen. So as a better, the more chaos, the better, at least for me.
Yeah, we're probably not seeing any Derby hopefuls in these races, but the second race is a $5,000 climber going 5.5 on the dirt course there, 14,000 in the kitty here. I landed on a very boring pick here, Barry, in Bronco Nagurski, and this isn't a based on past performances on the dirt kind of pick. I just think this happens to be the best horse in the field. Has been running on turf the last 3 times out. Wasn't good, wasn't great last time this horse was going a mile on the dirt course. I think shortening up the distance here, going from turf to dirt, which Steve Miotti, the trainer, does at 18% in recent sample size, a pretty decent one at 19 or 39 total runs. I just think at some point, Tyler Bays, et cetera, the connections here, this is just the best horse in this field. Where did you land on top in race 2 at Santa Anita?
Yeah, I ended up on the one fast service. I kind of believe that this horse probably has the least knocks of anybody in this field.
Okay.
From where this horse won. So this horse won in March 9th at Santa Anita in a similar main event for 8,000. Stepped up into this kind of condition going long and didn't run all that badly. I think this distance suits this horse a lot better, and I expect a way better performance. For the 3, I kind of
Yeah.
took the skeptical angle of why is this horse in this race kind of thing, and I wasn't really too sure. I mean, I, I I'm honestly not too sure what the price is going to be on that horse either.
Yeah. Right. You and I landed on 3 completely different horses in our handicapping. Are we right, Barry? Is this a spread kind of race if you're playing an early part of the sequence?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, you could get horses
Okay.
that could fire, others that won't. These are really inconsistent horses, so I would tend to think staying away from chalk would probably be the best thing, and then maybe even throwing a couple downfield.
Yeah, I've got Uplift in my second spot here, Barry, and it's based on a maiden 8-2 back, and that was the horse's 14th lifetime start. I mean, like whatever, right? I mean, we got Bautista, who's going to be a bug boy here. I mean, I don't know. I think that horse has as much a shot as say Big Bet in the 5 here, coming out of an optional claimer. That horse has been up the track, 1 win in 12 lifetime starts. I mean, we're just dealing with such a difficult level of horse to really get our hands around here. I have the 2 in the 3rd spot in Doris Avenue, and not because my grandmother's name was Doris, but rather because I see that form from that maiden win up at Fresno going 5.5 in the maiden 25 ranks. Can that horse run back that kind of effort in here? Maybe. I don't know. It hasn't done it at Los Al. Maybe it'll be Santa Anita that's better for this horse. But yeah, just a tough spot to be in here, Barry. I know in your 3rd spot, you have the 7 horse on the outside. I think that's actually one of the more logical ones here.
Yeah, probably will get a decent trip from the outside, but again, this horse was in and out of form and appears to be sort of out of form, uh,
Right.
but could bounce back. And I think that's what the hope of everyone in this race is, to see their horses kind of bounce back and win one or really run well, so they know what they have. But this is quite a tough race.
Our guy JD Fox, who we appreciate much more than Andrew Champagne. Let's be very clear about that. You had to program
Strays.
today's show to go head to head against Assiniboia Downs 2025 meet press conference and make me multitask. Listen, I do nothing except make inconveniences for people. That's what I do with my life. We'll move on to race 3, presented by Amwager at amwager.com. This is moving on along a $50,000 starter allowance here. 6 furlongs on the dirt there, 22,000 in the prize pool here. And again, this is for those Northern California runners. And we see some in this spot, Barry, that have actual running lines that we could sort of follow, a little bit easier to handicap, I think, in this spot. Where did you land in race 3? I still think some really legitimate prices here.
Yeah, I landed on number 2, Jaguar John. Really, the only thing is this horse doesn't have any knocks on him. That
Right.
first out effort at this level was very good. Speed wise is very competitive. It was a fast enough race to compete in this race. And, I'm not really enthused about anybody else. Lead Pipe Joe is okay, but we haven't seen that one in a little bit. So I don't know. It's worth a shot, go with the horse that really hasn't done anything wrong.
Right. Yeah, I got the 2 and the 5 on top. I'm a flip from you, 5-2. I do think Lead Pipe Joe, probably the best horse in here, does have a win by a bunch at the maiden 8. At the maiden 32 level. This one for me too. Andy Mathis off the claim here. You tends to be very good. He's excellent. A couple of months off here. So this horse raced last at the beginning of March. Obviously a 2-month layoff here. And he hits at 31% in those. Kyle Frey gets them out here as well. And so the two of them, solid 3 of their last 15 at Santa Anita as well at 20%. And so I'm hopeful, Barry, that we'll get that kind of performance from him. But I agree. Jaguar John, I love a second time starter sort of in general, whether they win on debut or it's their second time running in a maiden race. This one did nothing wrong at all at Santa Anita. I know it was in that restricted company. It was at that $8,000 kind of level. And I also know they, quote unquote, this is a $50,000 starter allowance, but let's be very clear about this. Very few horses in this race have really been in for that kind of tag and won at that sort of level. I think the one in Mr. Machu Picchu with that state bred maiden special win, probably the best win in this field. Do you give him much of a shot? The one from the rail?
Not really. I mean, this horse has had a bunch of opportunities to win races and just couldn't close the door. Drawing the rail isn't the best thing in the world either, with a lot of speed in here. I think that horse is up against it personally.
I have him third in my handicapping. After the 2 and the 5, you have the 7 for a minor placing here in Clement's Ride. What do you like about Clement's Ride?
The last race in particular,
Yes.
even though it was at a lower level than this technically, it was a pretty decent race, stacks up well against this competition, and not really a bad race.
It's interesting too. This one, and you saw it. John Sadler moved that horse straight to a nickel claimer, not in a maiden field at all, right? So that horse actually won against winners to break its maiden, which is a very, very interesting sort of scenario for that. But yeah, this is to me, 1 for 1 at Santa Anita. Seemed to like the track last time. I think those 22-46 kind of splits, finishing up at 112. I think that's a winning kind of time. So I don't hate the 7 in this spot as a third option. For sure. Barry Spears, Louie Barry hanging out with you, Horse Racing Happy Hour. Amwager presenting our coverage today. Again, get that 100% sign up match right now. If up to $150 with our friends at Amwager, amwager.com. Get in with them right now. Race 4 is a $16,000 claimer. This is for 3-year-old fillies. And fillies and mares 4 and up, which have never won 2 races. Pretty straightforward one here, going a mile on the dirt course here. Barry, I'll let you go first here. I went very, very short in this spot. We both like a longer shot in here.
Yeah, I went with the 1, Memosis. Jeff Bondi likes to do this maneuver, almost like the 2 or 3 sprints and then stretch out. And I think this horse will appreciate the stretch out. Getting Kimura is also a plus. He's riding very, very well at Santa Anita in general. And there's really not much in here. I mean, San C has had a lot of a lot of chances to get out of this condition and hasn't. Queen Gervin really, has probably bred the part, but hasn't really run the part. So a lot of underachievers in this race, and this one isn't a complete underachiever yet.
We both left Santa C out of our handicapping, the 2 in this spot. And I'm interested as to why you did that. But rather for me, I've just seen this horse try this distance, and it hasn't worked in a very, very long time, and over a year, frankly, for this one. to get in there. I'm also turned off by horses that, 14 lifetime runs has finished in second or third 7 times. To me, that's just a horse that doesn't want to win, doesn't want to be on the lead. I'm like you. I think Mimosas here, the one horse, offers a fair amount of value in that spot. I went with Nala in my second spot here, the 5. I think if I were playing a longer sequence, this is all I would use. And this is a horse that did win at the $5,000 allowance, or excuse me, $50,000 allowance level at Santa Anita, going 5.5 before under Asael Espinosa. We go to Edwin Maldonado here. I think that's a good move. The horse was pretty good last time out, actually, at the 16 level, finishing 4th, but only by 2 lengths under Billy Anti-Georgie. And so I do think there's a chance here for the 5 to pick up some pieces as well. You have the 3 in your handicapping second. What do you like about Princess Daddy?
That last race was really good on the drop, and
Yes.
I think
This seems to be her level. Yep.
yeah, and I think they mistimed it. I think the
Hmm.
jock just didn't get her involved early enough, and I would expect that to happen this time. Second time at the level is a really, really good angle, and the trainer Hector Palma is almost 30%, second off a layoff like this. So I think this horse is probably going to run big. The only reason I didn't put her on top was running style.
Okay. Fair enough. The star of the show will be race 5. It is the Siren Lure Stakes. We are sprinting on the turf, and we are on the flat turf course for this one. Going 6 furlongs. That's for 4 and up here. $100,000 in the pool for this one. Very shorter field of 6 here. So let's go kind of horse by horse through this one. You and I landed largely on different horses in here. We agree on the 4 being in our top 2 spots. That's Bran. So let's start with Bran. 9-5 favorite here. Umberto Rispoli picks up the mount. This horse was last seen in July of 2024 going a mile at Del Mar. Before that, in the Eddie D down the hill in a grade 2 at Santa Anita. And before that, in the Greenfish handicap, up the track a little bit at Del Mar. Why is this one 9-5? And why is this one so high up in our collective rankings? I have this horse on top.
Brand has all the speed. I mean, can be wherever they want to be, and that's always a dangerous weapon in any kind of race. I personally don't really think that this horse likes the regular, 6 on the flat. I mean, even the turf sprint that this horse won at Kentucky Downs, it was at Kentucky Downs, which is an undulating
Right.
course. It's probably
Yep.
the opposite of the downhill course, but it's still not the flat. And the
Hmm.
horse ran a 5 furlong flat race in the general flash. It was a tough race in general and was kind of hung out wide, but it just feels like this horse really doesn't want this trip, and it may be that bigger and better things are on the horizon for that one.
One that is not getting to come down the hill, but probably would like to, is Lovesick Blues on the outside, the 6 horse here, Barry. Your top pick. Why did you make this one your top selection?
I think this horse is going to get a great trip. Has the speed to
Hmm.
win a race like this. I just by the way the horses should come out of the gate, uh, Lovesick Blues should get a great stalking trip right behind the speed, and it's just a matter of that horse being good enough to finish everybody off. But these horses are really kind of similar, other than Brand. Brand has been running in better races for sure, but
Right.
just hasn't been out since July. But everybody else is kind of the same as far as speed figures, so it
Hmm.
might turn into sort of a rider's race.
Uh, the 3 horse Air Force Red comes in, probable favorite here. Did win the San Simeon under Armando Ayuso last out, but hasn't won on the flat ground in a turf race since going a mile and a 16th at Del Mar in August of last year. Worthy favorite here, Air Force Red. Obviously, you and I in our handicapping disagree.
Um, yeah, I guess so. I always felt that this horse liked it going longer, which begs the question: why is this horse in this race? Uh, I would have thought they would look for a spot down the hill before they would do this, but I guess, a stake and, in between times, so this
Yes.
kind of makes sense, but I'm not buying it. I just don't
Yeah,
think this horse really wants the trip.
Yeah, it's interesting that they took the time off after the San Simeon to run back in this one. Now that's a good angle for Leonard Powell, and I think this horse, if the speed figures are right, this horse is amongst the fastest in the race. And we've also seen this horse while going a mile do all of the work up front under Juan Hernandez. The switch to Armando, though, is a different sort of animal. And I do think that this one's just going to want to go in this spot. So Air Force Red, if it can get the lead and keep the lead, this 7-year-old Ridgeling son of Air Force Blue, why not, could pick off this race. I have Noble Reflection in my second spot, the one horse in here for Antonio Fresu and Librado Barracio. And this one comes out of, hear me out, a $40,000 claimer where it ran second over the 6 furlongs at Santa Anita. But before that, man, has always just kind of been right there, Barry. And if this is one of those spots where Antonio happens to get this horse through the wire, through the line first, I'm going to feel really, really dumb. This horse is running some pretty big spots as well. I know the win-loss record is not great, but 5 wins in a career is amongst the best in this field. So I put Noble Reflection in that second spot in this field. You also have, I think we've gone through all of yours. What do you think, for example, of the 2-horse Final Boss? Do you give that one much of a chance? That's Sadler and Hernandez, obviously a really good combination out of Santa Anita.
I mean, the only way I think that horse could win is if the one just doesn't break and Final Boss kind of shakes loose on the lead. And I don't really think that's too likely because Air Force Red is super fast as well. So there should be plenty of pace up front.
Final Boss, a son of American Pharoah, 4-year-old, a $450,000 purchase at the Keeneland September sale in 2022. Ion Ride, the only horse we haven't talked about in this spot, is also entered to run on Sunday, has been running at a mile and has been doing the closing in most of those races. Do you think we could get back to the October performance under Victor Espinosa, where this one, yes, went a mile and an eighth, but did it in a stalking kind of way?
These horses are always tricky for me. When they're running steady mile races and then they, go to a 6 furlong race, especially on the grass, because the pace is just a different sort of thing than on the dirt. And horses can kind of change running styles a lot easier on the turf than they can on the dirt and take to it. So a horse like Ion Rye, if that horse gets too far up in the odds, you have to take a second look.
We need to come up with a name for this, Barry, but in race 6, you and I have the same horse on top. And I don't know the best thing for us to call this on this show, but a couple of weeks ago, oh gosh, was it Seaver? Was it Tom Seaver that we both had on top at 5-1 and that horse went ahead and won for whatever, he just felt like it. We need to come up with whatever that horse is. And I don't know if we need to be very creative about it, frankly. Louie and Barry agree, something like that. I don't know. But you and I landed on the same horse in race 6. It is a maiden special. It's on the dirt. We're going to 6.5 at Santa Anita on that dirt course. This is for maidens 3, 4, and 5 years old. A pair of Bafferts in here. We get a Mandela on the outside that I think is very interesting. Where did you end up landing? Because you and I landed on the same horse.
I was really looking forward to this race because I was so embarrassed by my non-hockey knowledge. I'm going to come back with it this week. So we got penalty box number 2. And
Nice.
For the hockey heads, Jerry Cheevers, Rockingham's finest, number 4. Yeah. So, yeah, I know a little bit of hockey. But with that being said,
in the Northeast, but now, and you're in Florida. Everybody loves hockey in Florida. I don't like Florida anymore. Florida can go to hell. How about that? No.
I landed on Sierra Silver, the 3 out of the Baffert barn. 4 horses out of that race, the goal-oriented race, came back to win, including goal-oriented. Really, really live race. I can't foresee anybody being, with the experience or anything that can beat this horse in this race.
I saw Bob Baffert this morning. What a hell of a thing to say. And he's really high on goal oriented. Guess who was in that race with him was Sierra Silver. So yes, I'm with you. I also have him on top, 3 horse here. I think the other Baffert is interesting. The first timer in Southern Gentleman. Only Bob Baffert would have this stat. He's better with first timers than he is with second timers. And so he gets the first timer in there under Drayden Van Dyke. This is one that's been working really, really well, Barry, out at Santa Anita. 59 and change, 48 flat, a minute flat, those kinds of works. I think in this spot, he makes a ton of sense. Does Southern Gentleman, a son of Matoli. It's unusual to see what I consider to be a mile or less, a one-turn kind of Siren Matoli land with a horse in the Bob Baffert barn. But I think at a 6.5 furlong kind of distance, He makes a ton of sense in here. Your second pick is the 7 on the outside. I mentioned Legal Air earlier for Richard Mandela, who's also pretty good with first-time starters.
There's a chance that this horse might be the best horse in this race eventually. Um,
Son of
there's
Nyquist.
a lot of
Oh, yeah.
pedigree there. And I noticed looking over the pedigree that there was a lot of precociousness, horses that won first, second time out. And then you look at this horse's workouts, a nice one on April 24th. Mandela really doesn't work his horses too quickly. So that seems to indicate that this horse has some natural speed. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if this horse won, but just on paper, the 3 looks a lot better. But this looks like a seriously cold 3-7 exacta.
It's a really interesting thing about Legal Air, too. The workout pattern that Mandela has set up. If you go back to April 10th, we're going 3 furlongs. You go to April 17th, we go 4. Then April 24th, 5. May 1st, they go 6. And then May 8th, something you don't see in the form very often, a 2 furlong timed work at 24-2. How about that? So obviously getting this one ready to break as quickly as possible from the gate, make this one at least part of the early lead there. This Son of Nyquist, as you point out, a bunch of regally bred horses in this one for sure. And look, I would a win here for the 7 be surprising to me? Absolutely not. I'm with you, Barry. I think that's one that does stand out as the non-Baffert to play in here, if you will. And so it should be interesting to see if Mandela's got something here. And that's a 3-year-old. The Baffert, the Baffert number 3, Sierra Silver, is a 3-year-old as well. Southern Gentleman, a 3-year-old. You never quite know with the Bafferts what we might be seeing in May that could turn out to be a Travers horse or something like that by the time we get to the
That's
fall.
how Arrogate
Arrogate
did that, didn't he? He just came
That's
out of
exactly
nowhere
right.
and won the Travers.
Yep, that's exactly. I guess I'll go off at 12-1 and win by 12 lengths as well. That's exactly right. That's Arrogate for you. Hanging out with Barry Spears. I am Louie Barry. Again, Amwager and amwager.com. Check them out right now. That platform designed by horse players for horse players. Speed, power, top tier features like predictive true odds and conditional wagering. So get in with them right now. Amwager.com, a 100% deposit match up to $150. We move on to race 7. Gosh, we're already in the late pick 3 here. A great bet out there. 15% takeout, $3 minimum on the late pick 3. Barry, I got to tell you though, this $32,000 claimer 6 furlongs on the turf for fillies 3 and fillies and mares 3 and up essentially, buddy. I don't know how you could make this a skinny pick 3 ticket. This would be a pretty expensive ticket at the end of the card. Where'd you land in race 7?
Yeah, this race in particular is a doozy. I ended up on the 4 Petite Treat, and it seems like this horse has a little bit of affinity for the Santa Anita course, which probably helps and seems to be improving. This horse did get laid off, but shows up in a realistic spot. And Mike Pipey does good with these kind of layoffs, about 30% or so. And it's a real mystery, this race. I mean, it could go a lot of different ways. I know I just didn't want any part of the chalk on top.
Yeah, you and I landed on the same horse again here. So this might be a cold double 3-4, race 6, race 7. Petite Treat comes in 5-1, daughter of Lord Nelson here. Candy ride on the dam side, so the turf makes sense. This horse has run twice on dirt to no avail. Has won twice on the turf, though. So we're 2 for 3 on the turf, 2 for 3 at the distance. That's really what stood out to me. A little bit of time off. Good news. Mike Pipey, as you mentioned, 26% on this kind of layoff as well. So I think this one sets up really, really well at 5-1. I landed on the 7 horse in second spot here in Mucho Magical. This daughter, of Mucho Macho Man, of course. Mucho Macho Man, top what horse name of all time? It's way up there, right? It's a good one. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, just checking. So that was our price play in this play, was the 5 horse. I will take that off the screen now at some point. There we go. And then put it back up because I'm an idiot. And then we'll go up to the 7. Mucho Magical did break its maiden last out at the maiden 20 level. Steps up a little bit here, but I thought the time of that race, Barry, 22, 45, 58, 112 is the kind of speed we should expect in this spot as well. Kyle Frey keeps the mount for Alfredo Marquez. And I think this is the kind of horse that can win again. Marquez, not a great angle for him going back to back, but I saw enough last time, enough confidence from this horse passing 5 other horses in that race to win. I saw enough from Mucho Magical to throw that one of my tickets. Where did you land second?
I landed on the one Misty Muppet. Just on the
Another
the
price.
fact that this horse back in September last year ran a pretty decent race, 6 furlongs on the turf, and didn't get back on it. Um,
Mm.
there's a chance that this horse could have improved over that time span, getting back to the turf. I like the workout on April 24th, and honestly, this is almost a dart throw. This race, there's a bunch of horses that could win. Just this is really tough. So I threw that one in for second.
Yeah, you have the 9 on the outside, will be 9-5 favorite going to the gate for Carla Gaines. I just bury that one. It seems so comfortable just being mid pack with so many other horses. And I get it. 32 claimer here, dropping into this spot from the optional claiming ranks. I just, we haven't seen much since that sprinting win at Del Mar back in September. And I don't know if this horse needs time off or if it needs whatever, but I mean, we're not seeing anything within about 3.5, 4 lengths of the leaders by the time we get to the finish. So I'm going to try to beat the 9 here, but I also, I'm with you. I
Yeah.
think the dart throw analogy is not a terrible way to talk about this race.
Yeah, I thought Lovin on the run, was kind of best of the rest and would pass horses late. Kind of runs the same race every time and doesn't win.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's about right. Another Northern California $5,000 claimer, 5.5 furlongs on the dirt for race 8 here on the card Saturday at Santa Anita. Again, Louie Barry, Barry Spears hanging out with you. Presented by Amwager and Amwager.com. Go over and check our friends out live in California. Go check them out right now. Beautiful website, easy to use. You will really, really enjoy it. My bucket list comes in here out of a good second place finish. Antonio Garcia picks that one up off the claim here in the 3 spot. You and I both have that horse third. And Barry, you have the 6 in Mamo's Kiddo coming in as your top play here. Brand new jock to the circuit here, but Jose Valdez keeps the trading job here. Why do you like the 6 in this spot?
Um, well, if you look at this horse's past performances, the March 21st race, this horse just got beat by my bucket list um, going the same trip. Blinkers off that day. This horse is getting blinkers off again, so they're recreating that same sort of race, and I think this horse is going to be competitive in that spot. If you look back, this horse has run races that would win a race like this. So I wouldn't, being outside is also a bonus too, a little bit. I,
I
I
agree.
I wouldn't want to be out too wide in a race like this, and should get a what I call the run of the race. Nice stalking trip, 8-1,
You and I both,
even better.
yeah, yeah, the price is awesome. I'm with you. You and I both have the 5, then the 3, second and third in our handicapping. I'll talk about golf drama, the 5. Barry, you ever had golf drama in your life? I don't think I've ever had golf drama.
No, never golf drama. Golf
Yeah, yeah.
lessons.
Do you golf? Do you like golfing? You know what I am? I'm
Oh,
not a
sure.
golf guy. I'm a driving range guy. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm a driving range guy. Just let me hit the ball. I don't need to be out there undulating hills, trying to putt the ball. Bleep that. I don't need any of that. I just let me hit the range and a little 12 pack, whatever. Like a little hanging out. But golf drama comes in off a good fourth place finish. Excuse me, by 2 lengths under Billy Ante Georgie. Last out, Hernandez picks up the mount here for Troy Dial. I watched this horse 2 back at 4.5 at Los Al win under those conditions similar to this. Can the horse get the distance is the question at 5.5, which is a ridiculous thing to say. But this is a son of Smiling Tiger. And look, Smiling Tiger was a plotter for sure, right? And so this is one that I think only has one speed, but it happens to be a little bit faster, has been within 2.5 lengths his last 3 runs, all of them at 6 furlongs or less. We get to 5.5. I'm just essentially hoping this one gets the lead and holds on. Why don't you go ahead and talk about the 3, my bucket list, who I think ran a really good race last out at 6 furlongs after winning in the previous race at 5.
Yeah, he's just the most consistent runner out of them all. His late kick usually kicks in, and it's a matter of whether he's in range and everybody's backing up or not. There's a chance that could happen, so he's always sort of dangerous, which shows in how he's bet typically. He's not usually the favorite, but he's not the longest price on the board either. I just thought that this horse could probably pass him late and get in the action there.
We'll close the card. By the way, race 8 does start the late double, $5 minimum, another 15% takeout. Very playable, very, very fun race, or fun wager, I should say, between races 8 and 9. 9 does close the card, made an optional claimer here. This is on the dirt course again, 6 furlongs, 62,500 in the, if you want to put your horse up for claim. No one up for claim in this one, so using that optional part of the tag there, $35,000 purse here, Barry. I'll go first. I landed on the 9 here in this spot on the outside, and Nicolina should be a surprise to absolutely no one. Ran at this level last time at 6.5. Under Tiago Pereira was right there, losing to Maximum Gold at the very last moment. Just couldn't quite overtake that horse. Probably going to have to do a little bit more work in this spot, but a little bit of a layoff here for Phil D'Amato. Another good angle for him. And he and Antonio Fresu hitting at 20% right now at Santa Anita. You landed on the 7, though. An 8-1 opportunity here with Moonlit Courage, excuse me, for Richard Mandela and Kazushi Kimura, excuse me. Second time starter here, was a little bit up the track last time, but did break well.
Yeah, the horse broke well. I think they just wanted to get a race into this horse. It was sort of a non-effort. And if you look at this horse's pedigree, there's a couple of horses in there. One of them did exactly this. Ran on the turf first time and then scored second time out on the dirt. And I think that's what we have here, a situation where they really want to win this race, especially the My Racehorse people. And I think this one merits a good shot. The pedigree's there, just got to run and show it on the track.
Hopefully the My Racehorse people don't bet Barry's favorite in the last too badly. In the second spot, I'm going to go. You talk about throwing downfield. Your boy's going to throw downfield here. Guitar Girl is 20-1 in here. An 0-for-9 career, but has hit the board 5 times. I thought was going to get it done last time. Keeps Carmona in the irons here. Moves into an optional claimer out of a 50 claimer. And so I think that level isn't so terribly different. I think the splits of that race were really good. What I like about this horse, especially Barry, is we've seen her much closer to the lead the last 2 out, hoping we get a breakthrough here. I would love to get the 6 in as a winner here. You laid it on the 3 in your second spot. You and I totally all over the place in this race for sure. But a first-time starter, Mike Smith gets them out here. What do you like about Lead the Way K?
Yeah, I like that last workout, May 3rd, 47-2 Hanley from the gate. This horse has a sibling that was also trained by Mike Pipey, who Mike Smith rode. And he was fast. And this horse seems to indicate that he's fast as well. These Vekoma babies are pretty quick early. But I gather this horse might want to go longer than this. So that's why I put this horse second. Otherwise, I would have put this horse on top if I thought, this was more of a sprinter type. Something tells me this horse wants to go long.
We've seen stranger things than a Mike Smith win on a first-time starter for sure. Your third spot here, you landed on the 5 as well. Don't Tell Our Wives, which is not what this show is called, ladies. Don't worry. Barry and I, we talk to our wives. It's fine. Why do you like Don't Tell Our Wives in this spot?
Seems to be improving every race, and I don't think that trend is going to stop. I'm just worried that this horse is piling up starts without winning. But seems to be maybe best of the rest because of the experience.
All right. Preakness in a week. Young Barry Spears. Is there a favorite Preakness winner or moment or any of those things? By the way, you can bet the Preakness right here on Amwager, all the races in Maryland. As we go back to Pimlico today, they are underway at Old Hilltop. You got a favorite Preakness winner?
I do. It's actually American Pharaoh. That day was the day that horse actually proved, greatness to me. I thought that race was exceptional. And I know a lot of people wouldn't say that, but at least for me, that was the one that stamped it. I was like, yeah, this horse is real good.
So I was there, and that huge downpour happened right before the race, right? They weighed the jock after the race. He was carrying 20 pounds of water weight. Horse turns around, wires him in the Belmont. That's goat stuff. That's goat stuff. It is. It's just goat stuff. So
absolutely.
That is a good Preakness winner choice. I think for sure. am I allowed to like one just because the bet was really good for me in cloud computing? I mean, like, I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of the, I just, the Klarovich colors and all that, Chad Brown. It's what started me not leaving Javier Castellano out of any big spots, because that guy just picks off those races so damned often. And
He
so,
has the
yeah,
key
I
to the
think
city
cloud
of
computing for
Hallandale
me.
Beach, by the way.
You think? Yeah, no
He
kidding. So
does. No, they gave
we'll
him a
have
big
here, man.
one. He has a big one.
Good. Good. I like it. That one, I gotta say, the Swiss Diver, I didn't get to be there. I'm so spoiled. I get to go to these Preaknesses. Dave Rodman's call of the Swiss Skydiver Preakness is as good a horse racing call as you'll ever hear in your life. And the filly shows the way. They're set down for a battle in Baltimore, her and Authentic. I think that stretch run, one of the great ones, but I wasn't there, so I'm a snob, and I'm not going to name that one my favorite Preakness. Even though it's one of my
Oh,
favorite calls ever. I love that call for sure.
hater. No, Dave
Oh, man.
Rodman
All of
at
the...
any time is
Oh, dude.
excellent.
Yeah.
At any time.
Not just underrated, I think. Man, is he the best race caller? He's up there. He's one of them. I don't know. All right, we'll leave it alone there. He's Barry Spears. I'm Louie Barry. Again, we're presented by Amwager and Amwager.com, a 100% deposit match for new customers today, up to $150. Preakness 150 next week. You can bet the Preakness. You can bet Santa Anita tomorrow. We've got you all covered for all of those races with our friends over at Amwager and Amwager.com. Well, Barry, this time next week, you and I will be doing this show. I'll be sitting at Pimlico doing this show, which is exciting. And then we will get you set for all things Southern California when we do just that. But of course, a little bit of a Preakness preview, I think, probably even here on SoCal Saturdays. For Barry, I'm Louie. Thanks so much for making us part of your Friday and hopefully part of your Saturday as well. For Amwager and all the good folks here at the Horse Racing Happy Hour, thanks for hanging out. Have a great weekend.